Imagine a game that looks exactly like a pop-up fairy tale book. It has an immediate inviting charm that promises a world of gentle wonder. Now imagine that within 30 minutes of playing, you've managed to poison the king, frame an innocent person for murder, and behead people. Storyteller is a game that offers just that. A short narrative puzzle game where you build short stories by arranging characters and scenes to complete a prompt. But here's the big question, can a game about telling stories also tell a cozy one? We'll be finding out by scoring it on our cozy tier list, so make sure to stick around to the end of the video to see how Storyteller's tale unfolds, as well as my final thoughts on whether Storyteller deserves your time and consideration as a cozy game. Let's get into it. Cozy games rely on calm pacing, low stress, and visuals that make you feel comfortable. Storyteller succeeds in several of these areas. The hand-drawn art style is clear and soft, and there's no clutter on the screen, and the colour palette is muted rather than harsh. The background music is light and repetitive, which helps you focus instead of distracting you. The puzzles increase in complexity, but the feel of each puzzle is satisfying. When a story doesn't match the prompt, you simply rearrange the panels and try again, which keeps frustration low. As you get used to the game, Storyteller slowly unveils its darker, wittier side. It shows quite quickly that it isn't just a sweet storybook game as it initially seems. It's surprisingly dark, witty, and has a morbid sense of humour, as many of the puzzles involve stories of betrayal, murder, or monsters. You start to realise that Storyteller has a surprisingly high body count for something that looks like a children's book. Still, the style keeps it light-hearted and amusing, which keeps that chill feel. So it feels and looks cozy, but what about how it plays? Specifically, how much control does Storyteller give you? Each puzzle in Storyteller gives you a blank comic book-like canvas, usually with 4 to 6 panels, and from there you decide exactly how the story is going to unfold. At the top there's a title that provides a prompt, such as "An old heartbroken dog dies happy," or "Isabel is haunted by her husband." Your job is to drag and drop these elements into the panels to create a sequence of events that matches the title. As soon as you place an element, the characters animate, reacting to their environment and each other based on a cause and effect system. You are given a limited toolkit, a cast of reoccurring characters like kings, queens, and knights, along with props and environments like throne rooms, ballrooms, forests, or even a wedding altar. The storytelling is entirely wordless, yet you instinctively understand the characters' motives by how they react to each other on screen. This feels like a deliberate choice to balance challenge with player discovery. That freedom to experiment creates a cozy, low-pressure experience. You're never punished for being wrong, instead the game quietly encourages curiosity. If something doesn't fit the prompt, you simply rearrange the pieces until it works. The feedback is instant and clear, which keeps frustration almost non-existent, unless you're really bad at puzzles like me and get frustrated quite easily. The puzzles are designed with multiple valid paths, meaning your creative reasoning genuinely matters. Whether you create a touching romance or a silly tragedy, the end result still feels like your version of the story. Each story in Storyteller feels contained, but can it give you the feeling that something bigger is unfolding around you, and that your playtime actually matters? As you move from one level to the next, you start to notice reoccurring characters, emotional themes, and small visual details that tie everything together. The game never tells a single overarching narrative, but the cumulative effect of the stories make you feel like you're slowly building a library of moments. Progression in Storyteller feels natural and satisfying. Early puzzles introduce you to simple ideas like love, jealousy, and marriage, and later on the scenarios grow more complex and crazy, introducing kings, vampires, and mischievous twists. This gradual escalation in the mechanics and tone makes you feel like you're growing as a player, and that the time you spent on each puzzle does actually matter. You can take your time to figure out how to approach each puzzle, and when the story finally clicks, it's rewarding every time. The progression is emotional and intellectual rather than mechanical, and it makes you feel like you progress through insight instead of just grinding. Hey there, just a quick pause to say that if you're enjoying the chill vibes and discovering new and unconventional cozy games, subscribe to the channel. If you wanted to support the channel a little bit more, you can also give this Slothee a coffee. And trust me, I need the energy. You can find the link in the description below. And now, back to the video. So you steadily feel like you're growing in skill as a storyteller, but does the game give you a reason to retell these stories? This is where Storyteller faces its main criticism. I completed all the stories, including the hidden objectives for alternate solutions, in about 2 hours. The full price tag sits around £12 or $15, and for such a short experience, this price point can feel a little high. Storyteller is a clever experience, but it isn't built for long-term play, and has a low sense of replayability. Once you've completed the puzzles, there's little incentive to return. The joy in the game comes from discovery, that spark of figuring out how to make a story fit the title. But once you've solved them all, that spark just fades. That doesn't mean that Storyteller fails as a cozy game for this reason, or that short narrative games can't be cozy. In fact, short narrative games can be incredibly cozy as they provide a contained, low-commitment experience that might resonate a lot with cozy gamers. It just means that these kind of games are best enjoyed as a one-time creative session rather than a recurring part of your cozy rotation. Some cozy games thrive on routine and repetition. Storyteller thrives on curiosity, and curiosity can only be satisfied once. You may want to return to it after a while to replay the game once you've forgotten most of the puzzles, but it certainly won't be a game that you can binge. I personally feel that the strongest cozy games have a binge-worthy quality to them that make them so comforting to return to again and again, but you're just not going to experience that feeling with Storyteller. Storyteller might only last for a few hours, but does the emotional pull of the game make those hours worth your time? In many ways, the answer depends on what kind of connection you're looking for. Storyteller doesn't invite you to step into a single protagonist's life, or develop long-term bonds with recurring characters. The cast isn't there to grow or change. They're reused across multiple different stories to serve whatever theme the puzzle demands. This can feel like a huge barrier if you're seeking to get lost in a game. But on the flip side, the design choice keeps the game light and flexible, which is perfect for times where you just want to shut down your brain and not have to worry about characters' needs or wants. What you do connect with, however, is the act of storytelling itself. You become invested in solving emotional logic rather than living through it. The satisfaction comes from understanding how small choices, like who lives and who dies, completely change the meaning of the story. Some players may wish for more warmth and personality, but others will find comfort in the simplicity of Storyteller. It's the kind of emotional engagement that doesn't demand much, yet leaves you thinking about the storytelling itself. And that brings us to the final verdict. Is Storyteller cozy? Well, it scores a 7 out of 10, putting it in our almost cozy category. It's a game that combines a charming aesthetic with darkly humorous narrative systems, challenging the typical expectations of a cozy experience, and is absolutely worth playing. If you enjoy creativity, short-form puzzles, and a calm space to think, it's absolutely a few hours well spent. But if you're searching for a lasting game to revisit again and again, and sink tons of hours into, this one won't feel worth it. Storyteller is a small, well-designed and charming game, but it's also short for its price, and its fleeting nature and poor replayability might leave you wanting more. If you measure entertainment by hours per dollar, you might want to wait for a sale for this one. But that's just my take. I'm curious as always to hear what you guys think. Does Storyteller feel cozy to you? And what's your stance on its price point? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.